Hey, how's it going, boys and girls? Brad the Fixologist here, and you can see by my headgear and my sweater that it's a bit cold in my basement. And my basement is actually where I keep my studio, and it's where I do all my editing and stuff now, or I try to. And man, is it cold down here today. I do have this. So this is a electric heater that I found on the curb. I actually plugged it in when I first found it. I plugged it in outside with a extension cord out on the driveway because I was like, I don't know what this thing's gonna do. It might just catch on fire. And sure enough, when I plugged it in, it smoked a little bit, and it sounded like the fan was trying to go, and the fan really just couldn't go. And it was like, the smoke wasn't really intense. It was just like it was almost burning off a little bit of dust or something that was in it. I've plugged it in here, and we're gonna see, just confirm that what I remember to be true was actually true. So we'll flip it on, and this actually comes, they were kind enough to leave everything with it. I mean, so they even thought, hey, this is probably fixable, but we just don't have the brains or the know-how or the inclination to try to fix it. But they put the instruction manual and the remote and all that stuff at the curb with it when I found it. So let's see what it does when I turn it on. And those are actually lights. That's not real fire, of course. It's just aesthetically pleasing. We have, let's see, there's a dimmer control, which I assume changes the, I don't know. Oh, there it goes. If you hit dimmer, it lowers the brightness of the fire effect. Low and high settings, right here, low and high. And we have also a temperature thing. Ooh, it's blowing out the front. Ooh, it's blowing hot out the front. Okay. That's working. So the low is working. High, let's put it on high. Holy crap, it's working, sort of. But did you hear the rattling at the first? It went like that. And we have also a temperature thing. That's what the fan was doing. But now it's actually working. So and it's warm. It's nice and warm. Man, it's toasty. Okay, so I'm thinking what I need to do here is open it up and clean the bearings on the fan. So if you have one of these, this might be instructional for you. I'm gonna go ahead and open this thing up and see what the fan looks like. It's probably caked in dust, that's my guess. I've got some PB Blaster and some Lily White lubricant zoom spout. We'll take these couple of screws out. These are the only screws I see. I see one up here on this bracket, and I see another. There's a couple more down here. I think this whole unit has to come out of the cabinet, possibly, to be serviced. I'm not sure. This is a Heat Surge model X5C, and it says it's an Amish mantle. Amish mantle, made in USA. I don't know if that actually means it's... Oh yeah, it does. Mantle hand-built by Amish craftsmen. How about that? But the thing's falling apart. See there? The Amish craftsmen forgot to put enough adhesive on that front piece. I grew up around the Amish in the little town where I come from. We had or just outside of that town, actually, we had a whole community of Amish, and I always had a good deal of respect for the Amish. You know, you talk about a people who are independent spirit and, you know, all of that stuff. They just seemed like they really had everything figured out, you know, the Amish. I bet that's it right here. You take these screws out of the back, that one, and these two on the bottom, and it slides out the front. I bet that's it. That's the only way I can see that it can possibly come out. But that's why they put it at the curb. They couldn't figure out how to get it out. But like I said, when you look at something and it only has 4 screws, you just take those screws out and cross your fingers, don't you? That's about it. Alright. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Alright, this whole unit will come out the front of the mantle. Get it here where you can maybe see it. Yeah, this is cool. I mean, you don't even really have to have the mantle thing. You could just use the heater. Obviously, just this is really. You could use that just as it is, I imagine. I guess if I wanted to, I could put this in place of my actual fireplace. Just stick it in my fireplace and, you know, cover it up and make it just look like it's a real fire. Run an extension cord to it. Obviously, the stuff we need to get to is up here on top. The fan is right here. Looks like there's a top panel that will come off of here. This front panel right here should come down also if I take these screws out. Maybe we'll start with that. Something's telling me I might have to get this top off as well. But this front panel has 2 screws on each side. And then there's it looks like this whole thing, this is a panel that will come off, this is a panel that will come off. I'm thinking this is probably going to be an easy fix. We have a couple of screws that are missing. There's a screw right here at the front edge. Maybe they never put it in, but there's a screw here and a screw here. There's 4 screws for this top panel and 2 of them were already out. So I don't know if that means that they were already in here or not. Possibly. Okay, that's just a cover. And yes, indeed, it is dusty. This piece, this top piece, and this front piece right here, this is a single piece of metal that just wraps around. So we have to get all of this out in one go. And there's 3 screws in the back for that too. There's going to be at least 1 capacitor in here for the, it'll be a run capacitor for the fan, most likely. And obviously the fan did come on, so I'm thinking there was some sort of obstruction and maybe it got knocked loose, or like I said, it's just so full of dust. That's my guess, it's just as full of dust. But let's see, there's all our screws. This panel should come up and off. Yes, it does. Yeah. I'm just gonna put this, lean this up against this for now. Yep, it's definitely dusty. No doubt about that. And of course, you know, there's a whole bunch of there's a control board, but it doesn't seem that bad, honestly. I mean, it is dusty, but it doesn't seem that bad. And the bearings seem okay, frankly, with that fan. I'm going to vacuum this out. I'm going to lubricate the bearings at each end of this fan, and I think it's going to be fine. Heck, it came on. I mean, that's wild, because honestly, when I first found this thing on the curb, I plugged it in. It went, made that kind of noise and smoked, and I quickly turned it off. Brought it inside, set it down here, and I thought I'll get to it eventually. So I plugged it in, it did it again, it went like that, and I was like, okay, well, this might make a decent video then. So I went and get the camera, I bring the camera back, and you guys, where the video began, I turned it on, and it starts working. So I guess all I really need to do to fix things from now on is just bring you guys around, and that's all I need to do. Things will just sort of fix themselves, right? If only it was If only that was true. I just threw it on the floor. I don't know why. Why did I throw that on the floor? Like I was in a... Why did I do that? That was dumb. I was just getting it out of my way, but I threw a... Here it is. That zip tie right there. That zip tie was in here loose. And I'm wondering whether that might have gotten caught up in here somehow, that zip tie, and it loosened itself. Another thing. See this right here? That's a tip switch. So it's a switch with a weight on the end of it, and no matter which direction it goes, if this thing tips, it turns off. So that's pretty ingenious, and that's a great feature. Let's see. Whoa! Man, I've got dust everywhere. Ideally, I'd take this out to the garage and hook up the air compressor and blow this out, but I do have some duster here. I'll try to dust it out and vacuum it at the same time. Maybe I can get more of it. I wish I could just leave that on for about a half hour and suck up all the dust I possibly can, but that's pretty good right there. That's way cleaner and smoother than it was. I'm going to get some of this zoom spout. I'm going to use zoom spout, I think. I think that's what I want to use. I'm just going to try to get a little bit of this on each end down here. I wonder if this thing actually come apart. That would be nice if it did. There's a let's see. Really don't want to destroy it. There's a rubber bearing down here on this end. It's a red rubber bearing, and on this end it's basically just the motor. Motor seems free, so I'm gonna put some zoom spout. We'll put some zoom spout down here on this end, and probably leave it at that. If I can get it. But this should not have been seized up because of dust. It shouldn't have been. The only reasons I can see where it might have been seized up was that that zip tie that had broken loose. That would have caused it if it had gotten in there and stuck. Or like a run capacitor going bad. And I don't see any. There's only like two capacitors that I see through two, and neither of them were bulged. So I don't think it's that's an issue. We've got a sensor here. That's a temperature sensor, I believe. That little thing's sticking out right there. We have a reset button for the shutoff. Yeah, I mean, see how freely it's spinning. It's going. I want to plug it in while it's open like this. I want to see just what I want to see the thing in action. Oopsie! I'm gonna see shit in action if I mess it up. There it goes. And it blew out a little additional dust there. So this thing up front here will be the heater. Right there. That's probably the heating element inside of there. It's not very big. This is the heater up here. That crap down on the bottom is just for looks. This is the heater. Yeah, it's basically like a dryer heating element, you know, like for right here, for like a dryer. And it's right up there. And it's working fine. It's working just fine. So let's kill it. Okay, now it's off. So it'll run for a second until it cools off. There's a temperature sensor. There's definitely one back here on the back. That's a temperature, a thermometer. Make sure this tip, see that tip works, see that? So I wonder if I have to reset it now that I triggered that. Everything seems to be working. There's nothing burned on the board works, the heater works, the fan works. Shit, I don't have to do anything to it. So yeah, stupid video, but if nothing else, you've gotten to see inside of one of these, so yeah. So there you go. If you have one of these, pretty simple to work on. Like I said, this rotational thing, that's the fan. This is the heating element right here, and there are some connections here on top, but also on the side over there for the heating element right here. That's all it is. That's the heater right there. And that's the fan, and that board right there controls everything. Nothing to it. So yeah, that'll do it for this one. Pretty simple fix, eh?